A remarkable thing happened a couple days ago. I hit 1 year of ownership of my 2015 WRX CVT Limited. And I thought it would be pretty cool to kind of make a video that comes down to the roots of the videos of these WRXs where I'm driving in the WRX. And if you follow the channel, you'll know once it starts getting warm out, the formatting of this entire channel is going to change. It's going to be more about the cinematography. And yeah, guys, so if you want to see more WRX and automotive content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. But let's get into it. 1 year of ownership. I passed that mark about 8 days ago. Let me tell you all about the car, my experience, and everything you need to know about it. The full year of ownership of this CVT WRX has been kind of a love-hate relationship. I do a lot of highway driving, and if you follow the channel again, you know that I do a lot of driving. This car, I've put about 20,000 miles on this car in that year, and it's not necessarily the only car that I've been driving. So lots of miles. Most of those miles are in traffic. They're on the highway, that kind of thing. So the CVT really made sense in this instance, but it's a love-hate relationship. Being in the WRX platform, this just screams performance, and it screams I want to perform, and I can't necessarily do that in the way that I want to in a CVT. And that's just because I want to build a WRX. I want to build a WRX for power. I want something that I'm not going to be driving on a daily basis to and from work. So my plan is to sell the car, get a manual, and get a commuter car. And that doesn't mean I didn't like the CVT WRX. It was a wonderful car, and it still is a wonderful car. My best way to describe it is that if you're looking for a daily driver and you want the ultimate spiced up daily driver, the CVT WRX is exactly what you're looking for. What I found in my year of ownership is that the WRX is relatively inexpensive to own as long as none of the big ticket items breaks. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're driving an STI, you're looking at ringland failure, right? If you're driving a CVT WRX, you're talking about the transmission failing, and hopefully you're under warranty, and sometimes they're going to fight you on it and you've just got to fight back on it. But for the most part, other than those big ticket items, which is kind of a crapshoot whether they're going to happen to you or not, the CVT WRX seems to be relatively inexpensive to own. They also do a pretty good job of holding their value. I'm somebody that often checks the equity that I have in the car, and it's done relatively well. I mean, if you buy it at a competitive price and you can sell it at a competitive price, you won't lose too much money in the car. And I know this is all stuff that you guys probably don't want to hear. This is from a very objective perspective of the car. I think the main takeaway is that this has been the best car I've ever owned. And I mean, it's hands down the best car that I've ever owned. It doesn't even compare to the other cars that I've owned, driven. There's something to be said that I'm driving a performance car and I can drive it 365 days a year. There is nothing that will scare me from driving this car. Tomorrow night, we are supposed to get 10 to 12 inches of snow overnight, and I'm likely going to go out and take this car driving because I think it's going to be fun. Most people would take their performance cars and put them in a garage and never talk to them again if it's snowing or it's cold out. And one of the things that I love about the WRX, and one of the reasons why it's so attractive in the New England area, is that I can drive this car, again, every day of the year if I wanted to, unless there was a natural disaster. But if there was a natural disaster, I would either want to be in a truck or a WRX. So consumption's been great as sports cars go. I've made great gas mileage. I really can't complain. I'm really happy with that fuel economy and the savings that I'm making relative to other sports cars. I also think with a few basic modifications, you can make this car stand out, because I know a lot of people get WRXs, and it's great to see other WRX drivers because you say hi and all those things. But for me, it's really important to have a unique car. So I've done a catback exhaust, which really opens up what the car sounds like. I really like that. I've done a few little modifications, the plate relocation kit, the vinyl emblem overlays, the rear taillight tints, and I have Avid 1AB20 wheels, and I think that was under $2,000. Most of that's the wheels. That was under $2,000, and I got the exhaust used, so I saved some money there. And ultimately, my car is very unique relative to other cars. I mean, it's not as unique as if I were to do a full build, throw a front lip in there, side skirt, rear diffuser, put a wing on, that kind of thing. However, it is unique enough that I'm different. Other WRX enthusiasts like what I'm doing. I'm just modified enough that it's a talking point, and it looks like something's different with the car, but it's not too crazy for them to think that I'm building the engine or something and I'm, a racer or something like that. And this video is probably too long for a 1 year overview. And I mean, if you're interested in what it's like to own a WRX for 1 year, thanks for sticking through. I mean, there's plenty of other things that I can talk about. It makes me feel good driving it. It makes a lot of people feel good driving it, honestly, if you own a WRX. You can use it in all instances. It's got 4 doors, it's got a huge trunk. There's not much more you can ask for a car, especially a performance-oriented car. And the same thing goes with a manual or an STI. I think just the WRX platform is a wonderful platform to build, to enjoy. There's another WRX right there that looks very similar to mine, actually. And as a takeaway, through this channel and through my experience in cars, I've driven a lot of cars in my life. And I think that for me to be able to say this has been my favorite car, the best car that I've ever owned, is a little situational, but it's a really important statement, because with the amount of cars that I've had the experience of driving, and I'm not talking like, yeah, I would rather switch this for a $100,000 supercar. I'm talking about like cars that are under 60 grand. I really like this car. I mean, I've driven the S3, the RS3, and I might take those over it, but I've got to say, on a daily basis, this wins. And whether it's cost of ownership, or the cost to buy, or what you're getting for bang for buck, this car wins in most aspects when you're looking at performance cars. If you have any questions about my year of ownership, any questions about what you're going through, any problems you're experiencing with your WRXs, or anything that are scaring you for buying a new WRX or buying a WRX, be sure just to drop it in the comments or shoot me an email. And yeah, I appreciate you watching, guys. Thanks.